Conner McDavid, an overwhelming favorite at FanDuel to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, regardless of whether the Edmonton Oilers win or lose tonight. McDavid, 42 points this postseason, 5 shy of Wayne Gretzky's record of 47 playoff points set in 1985. Only Gretzky and Mario Lemieux have had more points in a single playoff than McDavid has had so far this year. Which leads us to the finest baseline in all of sports television, performed for us by Geddy Lee of Rush. That cost us a pretty penny. Also costing us a pretty penny, flying this guy out from Calgary to talk to me. It's Craig Button. Yes. How are you, buddy?
I'm great.
Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too.
This is fun. This is going to be wild tonight. Okay, let's go back first. 8 days ago, Oilers are down 3-0. Everybody's writing them off. So if you could, as best you can, try to encapsulate how this team has come back from 3-0 down to force this game tonight.
You know, the playoffs are so much about trying to find a solution for the problems you're confronted with. And so the Edmonton Oilers understood what the problems were. The Florida Panthers are a great forechecking team. They take away the middle of the ice and they suffocate you. So they recognized that that was a problem. But then they found a solution. And the solution was making sure that they could stretch the ice. How do you stretch the ice? You move the puck out of your zone quick. You send forwards long. They've created turnover chances and rush chances that have really given them great advantages. You start to see the first goal in Game 3. This is the stretch play. Just look at how quick this puck goes up the ice. Stretch, it's a 2-on-1, and just like that, it's 2-0. And the Edmonton Oilers have done that time and time again in these last 3 wins. Again, another stretch play. There goes Hyman, off he goes. These are just the examples from Game 6. But once they started to really establish what the response was going to be for a very good Florida Panthers team, the Edmonton Oilers have been rolling. And you start to think about, you know, you're down 3-0. So for the Edmonton Oilers, it becomes a best of one. Mm-hmm. And then it's another best of one. And then it's another best of one. Well, now it's a best of one for both teams now. The Edmonton Oilers have to be feeling really good about themselves.
So I mentioned that Conner McDavid, 5 points away from Gretzky's record of 47 for the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's also just 2 points away from Gretzky's record for the most points in the Stanley Cup final. He's doing Gretzky-like things that we maybe never thought would ever happen again. You know, other than just the numbers, what else has stood out to you, Craig, over the course of this run?
So we talk about Gretzky and Lemieux, the only 2 players that have ever had 40 or more points in the Stanley Cup playoff season, right? Well, they never had to bring their team back from 3-0 and do it in this type of fashion like Conner McDavid did, back-to-back 4-point games in games 4 and 5 to really give your team hope. And when you watch Conner McDavid play, we know how brilliant he is. But when you start to put it into that perspective and say, Gretzky and Lemieux never did this. Yeah, we know that Gretzky has 47 points, all-time playoff record. But you get into the Stanley Cup Final and your team's down 3-0. And of course they're going to look to you. Yeah, you can look to other players, but they're going to look to you. And I think one of the great things about Conner McDavid outside of his skill, he embraces, hey, put it on my shoulders. Put it on me. I got it. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to run with it. And he has done more than run with it. When you think about how great he's been in his NHL career, and now he's taken his game up another level, it's been phenomenal to watch, to have a front row seat to it. It's greatness personified.
And then on the flip side, you have the Florida Panthers. It's so amazing to see Paul Maurice, the jovial side of Paul Maurice when they win, the darker side of Paul Maurice when they're not winning. You know, it kind of sums up the whole series in a lot of ways. But one thing Maurice keeps pointing out is 5-on-5, they continue to play well. Do you agree with that? How do you explain this? Is it a collapse, or is it just that Edmonton came up and found a way to get them where they needed to?
Well, like I said earlier, you're trying to find solutions to the problems.
Yeah.
And Edmonton found a solution to the problem. Listen, the New York Rangers didn't find a solution. The Boston Bruins didn't find a solution. The Tampa Bay Lightning didn't find a solution. And you watch the Florida Panthers play so well, getting the 3-0 lead, it was impressive. So after Game 3, Chris Knobloch said, we've shown we can beat them. Actually, they hadn't shown they could beat the Florida Panthers, but then they win 8-1. And when I watch the Florida Panthers now, the battles. Zach Hyman, after Game 5, was asked about what's part of the success is. He said, bottom line is that playoff hockey is about winning battles. Mm-hmm. puck battles, wall battles, space battles, every battle, net battles, and everything that goes with it. And the Oilers have won all the battles. And Paul Maurice can be as optimistic as he wants. Great. They haven't attacked the net. The power play's terrible. Skinner has, I'm not going to suggest that he's had an easy time because the defensive play of the Edmonton Oilers has been outstanding. And Stuart Skinner has been outstanding. But when you're not in the battle and you're not fighting for the pucks and you're not in any significant area of those battles at Zach Hyman and you're losing most of them, I don't care what Paul Maurice has to say. He's got big problems on his hands going into a Game 7.
And the Game 7 is tonight, so my final question for you. Hey, Oilers have the momentum, but Florida's playing at home in front of their home fans. Who wins Game 7 tonight?
So I just talked about where the problems are for the Florida Panthers. When you're running into challenges with your team, you can fix one thing. I don't think the Florida Panthers have shown that they are capable right now of getting everything together. So if you had a stretch, you could go, okay, let's start working on this. Let's start getting that in order, right? They got to get a lot of things in order to win one game, and I don't think they can do it. And the runway right now for the Edmonton Oilers is significant. The speed that they have built is significant, and based on what I've seen the last 3 games, I don't think Florida can fix it enough to win one game. I don't think they can.
So the Edmonton Oilers, 10th team in NHL history to force a Game 7 when trailing a series 3-0, and the first to do so in the Stanley Cup Final since 1945. Yes, the end of the Second World War and before either of us were ever even born. Tonight, it all happens. Craig, thanks for this.